Hi guys, as some of you will know, I've been doing a lot of content on ULEZ. ULEZ is the ultra low emission zone, which next year from August 29, 2023 is set to be expanded from where it currently is, which is the north and south circular roads up to the whole of Greater London and Outer London. That is pretty much in some cases up to the M25. It's going to cause a lot of hardship for a lot of people who are basically not going to be able to use their cars. For example, if they have cars that are older than Euro 6 diesel or Euro 4 petrol. For petrol, that usually means about 2005 and earlier, and for diesel that means pre-2015 in most cases. It will also impact a lot of people that run younger classics. So for example, I have a BMW E30 1989 that is not yet historic status, so it's not allowed. It's registered as a regular car, and it will be subject to a £12.50 per day charge every time I drive out of here come September 2023. So that's a big problem, and that affects not just the owners of these cars but also the industry and the car culture itself. There's events, there's businesses that maintain, run, all this sort of thing. Anyway, all of this stuff I have actually covered in previous videos. So I covered it in a video that I put up about 6 months ago when this was first mooted, and I put it up a lot of content in another video which just recently when it was confirmed that this was going ahead. And I've also extensively covered the classic car scene and why the classification of historic cars is wrong. Now, the question is then, how comes, and especially in light of the fact that it has been revealed that 80% of those surveyed who would be affected by this expansion by the mayor's office had actually said, no, we don't want this, but the mayor, Sadiq Khan, has decided to go ahead with this anyway. So you're thinking that, well, he must have some pretty solid, substantial data to prove his argument, and his argument primarily being not actually necessarily one about climate, and I can discuss that as well separately in terms of why this doesn't actually help the climate change at all, but more about the fact that he's concerned about the health of people in London. Put it into context, he reckons 5 million people will be affected. I don't know where those numbers come from. He talks about 200,000 cars being impacted by this. There's actually, I think, 2.5 million cars in London and 2 million cars come into London every day. So you talk about 4.5 million cars, 200,000 cars in outer London, which are mostly used for the school run. And shopping is a drop in the ocean. Anyway, the point is that he must have some pretty solid data. So let's see what his own TfL, in a report, London-wide ULEZ Integrated Impact Assessment. This was commissioned by Transport for London and dated 17th of May 2022. This is the cover of the report. This report is available. You can basically, I'll put the link below in the description, and I'll put the link for these other videos that I talked about also below, and you can go and see it. You can download it. There's about 200 pages of it. Don't print them out because that's just bad for the environment, but you can download it as a PDF and you can go through it. So that's all there. That's widely available. So you think that there must be a lot of substantial and solid data that basically justifies why this ULEZ expansion is going ahead. However, there is a video out there where he is being questioned by a committee, and London by Londoners kindly have allowed me to use their little clip that they've posted. They've sent it to me, and in this clip, actually let me just play the clip. In fact, actually before I play the clip, let me just, have you heard of, there is a comedian, a YouTube, he does YouTube videos, it's called Michael Spicer. And he does this wonderful thing where he acts like the advisor in the other room who's feeding information into the ear of the politician or whatever high profile figure it is. I mean, it's a spoof, but he does these really, really funny videos. I cannot hope to emulate him in any way whatsoever. He's utterly brilliant. Do go check him out. I'll put the link for his videos below, his channel below as well. But I'm going to have a little go at trying to do what he does. Indulge me.
Of London. Who's the decision maker to do that or not do that?
Me.
So it's your decision whether that.
Damn right, yeah. Of course it's you.
My question is about the cost of that. So the independent impact assessment, which you referred to earlier,
don't worry, brother.
It will make no difference. This expansion will make no difference on climate change, no difference on particulate emissions or particulate quality in the air, and very minor difference in nitrogen dioxide levels. When you look at the hardship that that's going to impose on people, how in your judgment is that worth proceeding with?
So I don't recognise the no nitrogen dioxide or particular matter or carbon.
Okay,
It's in the
well,
file,
so on
yeah.
the independent impact assessment, table 9.5 on page 165 says that to take two places at random,
Yep.
Sutton's
Yeah.
particulate level will go from 9.5
I
without
gave
the
it to you,
scheme
yeah.
to 9.5
There.
with the scheme. Croydon's will go from 9.6 without the scheme to 9.6 with the scheme, so
Yeah,
that's
the
no
ca-
change. Nitrogen
cabbage.
dioxide levels from 19.5 to 19.2, Sutton 19.0 to 18.7, Croydon, those are very typical levels, no real change in particulate
No, that's
levels.
all right.
From 1.5, so table 9.
Yeah, he is
sorry,
right. Yeah,
table
he's right.
9.5 on page
He's got that
165
table.
of the
I gave you that table.
of the integrated impact assessment. Those are the figures.
Right, so I'll look at that particular page. I've not got that page in my bundle, as you'd appreciate.
But I put it
No,
in
so
your
we've already
bundle,
seen
huh?
reductions in all those things in relation to central. In inner, we've seen reductions in nitrogen oxide.
Yeah,
And the
tell him
expert
that, tell him
analysis
that.
is further reductions in nitrogen dioxide.
I
should
don't
it
even
be
know we don't have
expanded.
any numbers for that.
And
But you
further
tell him,
reductions
it's
in
fine.
particular matter and carbon emissions. I'm more than happy to look at the table that.
The table. I
the
gave
number
you that
refers to.
table, bhai. I
not-
gave
I'm
it to you.
This is the integrated impact assessment that is on the page where people go to do the consultation. Those
Yeah.
are the figures on that table. I've
It's in
given you
your
the
bu-
table number and the page number. I don't understand how you're quibbling with those figures. That is what they're saying will be the estimate.
Well,
of
what
the
I'm saying
impact.
is I don't recognise those figures.
You don't recognize. You don't. Yeah, of course you don't recognize. You've been drawing your picture all over it again. So like I said, I mean, I have printed out that page. Here is that page. And, you know, the guy that was questioning him was not wrong. The figures are very, very clear. Brent, where I live, there's a minus 0.3 difference in nitrogen oxide, less than 0.1% difference in particulates. I mean, the numbers are tiny. I mean, you just go through it. I'll put this on the screen and you can see. You know, if you're trying to justify the amount of money, and don't forget, and I'll come to actually how much this costs. I'll tell you how much this actually costs because those figures have also been revealed. I'll do that a bit later on, and then you can, for yourself, decide, you know, is it justified considering the minuscule benefits of, you know, this thing. Now, in that discussion, you saw that Sadiq Khan said, well, you know, he hasn't seen this table. Which, to be honest, as mayor, and this is his commission report, yes, I know it's nearly 200 pages, but you still think that he would have gone through it. But okay, forget about the 200 pages. Let's look at the early part of the report, shall we? Let's look at where the summary section is. Let's go right to the top of the report. I mean, because at the very least, surely he will have read that. And surely there, maybe he wasn't given the full data or the full information. Well, let's have a look, shall we? Table 9.5, as you can see right there, that's table 9.5. Now, like I said, this is page 188 in this case, right? So you know what, let's go right back to the top of this document, you know, and it's a fairly extensive document. As you can see, they've covered the maps as well. They've looked at the entire London area, and there it is. There's the information about the document, executive summary, right? So we're not gonna, let's see if there's some data. We're not gonna read through the summary. Let's go and see if there's some data. I'm looking at vehicle types and how they're impacted. So all of this stuff is there. It's all available. I'll put the link below. You can go and see it. Now here we go. Okay. Predicted impacts, committed potential mitigation and enhancement measures. So this is the stuff that we're talking about. This is the important stuff. So let's see how big of an impact. This is page 8 of this document. So, you know, I'm sure that anybody for whom this is quite an important thing and they're about to do a massive ruling and spend quite a lot of money making this happen, which I'll come to in a minute, they would at least get to page 8. Let's have a look. So what does it say? Okay, to contribute to a reduction in air pollutant emissions, exposure, air pollution, achieving compliance with legal limits, moderate to positive NOx, minor positive particulates, minor positive NOx, neutral particulates, minor positive, to help tackle climate change, neutral, to protect and enhance the biodiversity, neutral, to protect and enhance historic archaeological, minor positive. Okay, and what we got? To promote sustainable resource use, neutral. To protect and enhance built environment, streetscape, minor, negative. Negative. To reduce emissions, this is important, people. To reduce emissions, reduce emissions and concentrations of harmful atmospheric pollutants, particularly in areas of poorest air quality, and reduce levels of exposure experienced by
more vulnerable and disadvantaged groups, minor, positive. Neutral. to provide affordable, safe transport choices. Mine are negative, definitely negative, right? I mean, come on. Neutral impact on disabled people. Differential financial impact on disabled people. Moderate, negative. Negative because a lot of disabled people are running vehicles that may not be compliant and they will have to change. And their vehicles, of course, are heavily modified and customized to accommodate their needs. So that's negative in a massive way, actually. That's not moderate negative, that's considerable negative. Disproportionate financial impact for people on low incomes. Moderate, negative. I can go on. Impact on women taking children. Minor. Potential impact, differential impact on young people. Minor. Negative. Moderate, negative. Increased use of LTVs. Disproportionate impact. This is important to me as the brown car guy.
Disproportionate impact on black, Asian and minority, ethnic, PHV drivers working in outer London in a non-compliant vehicle. Minor, negative.
Negative impact, right? Not even positive, it's negative. Differential impact for some people of different faiths to access places of worship. Minor, negative. Differential impact vulnerable groups, refugees, asylum seekers, women, homeless people. Minor, negative. Differential impact on safety for women, disabled, young people, transgender people, LGBT plus people, and black and Asian minority ethnic people. Minor, negative. Oh my god, I mean, is there anything in this report? Let me just go through it. Minor, negative, moderate, negative, moderate, negative, minor, negative, neutral, minor, negative, neutral. What the heck?
So, as you can see, their own report, this is a report from TfL London. They have commissioned it, they have put it out, it is widely available, anybody can download it and read it, and there's nothing in there that says that this is really worth doing. And when I say worth, let's put monetary values on it. The ULEZ expansion cost to TfL, again, figures released by TfL, is £200 million. It'll cost them £200 million. This is the infrastructure that they need. So we're talking about cameras, we're talking about road markings, we're talking about signposts on every single road. If you drive around the North Circle at the moment, you will see that every single, the tiniest of little roads, they all have to have a ULEZ sign on them. So all of those have to be put into place. £200 million, they say, will affect 200,000 cars. Of course, all of those cars won't pay. You're going to say, well, he's making money on the £12.50. Okay, well, let's look at this. In the first year of expanded ULEZ, of the previously expanded ULEZ, which was from last year, where they expanded it up to the North and South Circulars, they made £93 million. So you can say, okay, well, I mean, that's not bad. They made £93 million. And now they're spending £200 million. So surely that means that they will easily make that back. Well, I worked out £93 million in that London area within the North and South Circulars. I estimated that means that an average of 20,000 cars per day would pay ULEZ. So 20,000 cars per day paying ULEZ will make you £93 million in a year. In expanded London, you can say that might go up to 50,000. Okay, they're saying that it's going to affect 200,000 people. The reality is that most people are not going to use their cars every day. They're going to get rid of their cars, or they're going to have to upgrade, or they just simply resort to London transport, public transport services, even though public transport is not well connected in Outer London, as I have discussed extensively in a previous video. Or in my case, I will get rid of my E30 because there's just no point. That's what will happen. So if you say that let's put it up to 50,000 cars, that's about £228 million a year. However, going forward, you think about it, if he's thinking that this is a longer term investment, by the time that this all happens, when it comes into force next year, and then, they spend all that money, and then they earn that money, we're into 2025. Another 5 years after that, the ban on selling internal combustion engine cars kicks in. That's in 2030. So the other thing to keep in mind, so going forward, what I'm saying is that the diminishing returns of this, and even financial diminishing returns, because less and less people will have cars that are non-compliant. So you've set up this entire infrastructure. Yes, at the moment you're getting £93 million a year in the London area, but in the outer London area, more and more people are transitioning to newer and newer cars anyway. It's happening by natural transition anyway. The return, or financial return, is going to be diminishing. The other thing to keep in mind is that he's introducing a scrappage scheme. The scrappage scheme itself is £110 million that they're putting aside. So in fact, he's not just spending £200 million on expanding this scheme, the cost of the infrastructure, but another £110 million, so a total of £310 million, because £110 million is for the scrappage scheme. So of course, the scrappage scheme means that actually you're further reducing the car pool, or the cars that are non-ULEZ compliant, that are going to be driving into London, that are going to pay the £12.50. So in fact, you actually are accelerating those diminishing financial returns, as I've said. So money-wise, it's all a little bit of a gamble, it seems, because that's a lot of money that he's spending for very little return in the longer term, and also very little return in terms of public health, because the figures prove that there isn't actually that much benefit that that it's actually going to help. So my maths is not great. I may be wrong in these numbers, but this is the way I figure it out. And so when you take all of that into consideration, the fact is the ULEZ expansion makes absolutely no sense whatsoever, and it needs to be cancelled. Hope you enjoyed that video. If you did, please hit the like button and share this video as well if you can. And while you're at it, check out these guys who also sponsor my content. I am deeply grateful to them because it helps me to buy new equipment, put fuel in the cars, and yes, buy a cup of coffee. You can do the same. Just go here or right here on YouTube. Just hit these 3 little dots down here and click on thanks. Make sure you're signed in first. My content is free, but this is how you can help me keep it that way. I may even send you a gift. Oh, by the way, watch this next.